N.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Beth Quarles, an April board member and the moderator of the meeting today. Thank you for joining us for the workshop, Mental Health and Open Conversation. I want to mention a few housekeeping items before we get started today. First, when you scroll over the screen, a menu bar pops up. Depending on what device you are on, you can find that menu bar at the top or at the bottom of your screen. There is where you will find the closed caption for today's session. You can view the closed caption by selecting the CC tab on the menu bar. For sign language interpreters, you can find the interpreter on the screen with the name Crystal. If you are only able to see the speaker, make sure you are in the gallery view so you can see the interpreter and the presentation at the same time. You can find the option to change the view at the top of your screen under a tab for view. For sessions only, if you have any technical issues, please use the chat feature. You can find the word bubble in the same menu bar. Once that is selected, that will allow you to follow along with the chat or add in your comments. If you would like to turn the chat feature off, if you are using a screen reader, you can do that by pressing Alt plus H, H as in hat. To ask questions or make a comment, you can also select the hand option on the menu bar that allows us to know you have a question. For those of you on the phone today or using a keystroke, we ask that you press *9 or Alt plus Y, Y as in yellow, on your keypad to raise your hand. We will then let you know when you cannot unmute. You can select the unmute option or Alt plus A as in apple, if using a keystroke. Remember, if you join into the conversation, please keep all background noise down much as possible to allow us to hear you clearly. As a last reminder, April and our conference is a safe and inclusive space for marginalized communities. We ask that everyone present in this session today treat each other with respect, and that you enter this and every session with good intention. This includes the respecting names, pronouns, and other personal identifiers, and avoiding the use of a harmful or derogatory language. At the end, now we will turn it over to Jamie Davis.
Hi, thanks so much. My name is Jamie Davis. I'm with the Idaho State Independent Living Council. My pronouns are she and her. I am a white female in her 40s, brown hair. That's about as exciting as I get. One thing that Molly and I, before I turn it over to her, one thing that Molly and I wanted to let y'all know is, since this is a safe space and we want people to be able to talk freely without fear that, something's going to get said. It is being recorded, but it's not going to be put on the website. Also, if you would like to change your names, you're welcome to do that. Molly had some great suggestions on names. She was getting pretty creative. So I will send it over to you, Molly. You're muted.
There we go. I also have shifty eyes because my camera's not set up right, but honestly, I'm not shifty. My name is Molly. I'm from Disability Action Center in Lewiston, Idaho, and I have brownish, orangish hair, a red shirt on, and my background is a multicolored side of a hill. So, and like we said, this is private, and we would like, if you feel comfortable or want to go ahead and change your names. You can do that by utilizing the three buttons at the top right corner of your name, of your little square, and you can go in and, I don't know if you can, whoops, you can go in and rename. I'm just going to rename myself Sleepy. I think that's appropriate. And there we go. So if anybody else would like to do that, that would be great. And Jamie, I'm going to let you start out with the first topic.
Awesome. Well, I just noticed we've got a Snoop Dogg now, so that's perfect. I'll have to come up with mine. If anybody attended last year, there are no handouts that you're going to get. There's no set agenda. This really is your space to talk. One of the nice things about conferences is the networking, the time to get together and share what's going on. And we have a frog soccer player. I love it. So this is kind of that in a virtual space. We want to, we learn best from one another, and IL is all about peer-to-peer. So this is the time that, ask your concerns, share your concerns, give suggestions to one another. But our first topic, because it's always awkward to do that first, be the first one to speak. So the first topic, though, is if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? And Molly and I were talking about this earlier, and I said that I would tell myself to not stress as much about things. The world is not going to come crashing down if I decide to take care of myself for once, instead of worrying about work and everything else. And so I tell myself to think back and relax and do fun things. How about you guys? Molly?
So Jamie, what would you change from your younger days moving forward? Or what would you like to change? Oh, you're muted. Ha, gotcha.
What would I like to tell myself? That
Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay, and it's okay to call in sick once in a while from work, or let something go, because the world isn't going to crash. I don't hold everything together, and that's one thing that I tend to think about myself is, if I don't do this right now, it's not going to get done. Snoop Dogg wrote, I tell myself not to be so scared of messing up. Yes, because we're all going to do it.
And I would say to tell myself to slow down and stop trying to be an adult so fast and move ahead and do all the adult things, because to me that made me feel like I missed a lot of the younger adult things because I was too busy trying to grow up. And anybody else?
These are a quiet group. It's because we got Friday, the last session before the closing ceremony.
Yeah, that's why I'm sleepy today.
It's been a fantastic conference, though. So
It was. And
I think
go ahead.
I think I would piggyback and say that everything's going to be okay. Because I just turned 40, and definitely in my 20s, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Yep. Well, and that's one of the things that I was also talking with Molly earlier is, I've learned a lot from the youth and those younger than myself, because it's, that it's okay to take a mental health day, and it's okay to be like, no, I can't do this, because I really grew up that you can't take days off, even if you're sick. don't take days off, show up at work, do this, do this. And that's one thing that a lot of the younger people around me have taught me is, mental health is a huge impact in our lives. And so many times it's just kind of shoved to the side because you aren't coping with it and you aren't, in pain, physical pain to everybody else with it. And so you're muted, Mom.
I was saying, uh-oh, I thought we lost you because you stopped. Does anyone else have any thing they would like to share on that subject? Because we can definitely move down to, or up, I gotta look at my list, to something else here. I kind of like the one that says, when do you feel the most alive? I mean, when do you feel that? And I'm going to let anybody who would like start. Well,
I
Jamie,
feel more alive when I am with my granddaughter.
yes.
What is it about being with her that makes you feel alive?
I think her personality, what she enjoys doing, and just being a part of her life.
That's
Nice.
awesome. And it looks like Snoop Dogg, I really feel alive and present when I'm in nature and away from phones and TV and social media.
I'm going to have to second that one because on the weekend, every time my phone rings, I work from home. So I have a work phone and I have my regular phone. I turn off my work phone during the weekends. Even when my cell phone rings, I cringe. I just do. And it's like, I don't even know if I want to answer it. And I kind of look at it for a minute to see, well, is this an emergency or is this something can wait? And I just don't answer. So that's one of the things I like to do because, yeah.
Anybody else? So one of the things we did last year was open it up for you guys to say what you're struggling with. And we had some interesting topics, like it was still very much in COVID times. I mean, we still are, but there was like the COVID eating and, just the burnout. And so there was a lot of conversation, giving suggestions. So anybody have something that they are struggling with that like maybe some suggestions or to get it out? Y'all are a super quiet group.
Tough group today. I feel like one of those comedians that just stand on the stage. But I'll say some things if nobody wants to talk. COVID was really hard. I worked from home. I did a lot of consumers in a short amount of time that had to be expedited quickly. And that took a huge toll on me to go through all those and see who was eligible and who was not. My desk was right beside the refrigerator. Wonder what happened with that. So I put on quite a bit of extra weight during that time. I still work from home. I do enjoy working from home. I enjoy the quiet. The hustle and bustle at the office is not something my brain can deal with after COVID. And then I've had a few mobility issues arise in my life. But one of the better things now that we're kind of easing out of COVID for me is I've lost all that weight that I gained during COVID. Yay! And I'm starting to feel a little more relaxed with the world. Not quite because there's a lot of other stuff going on, but that's where I'm at. So, Jamie, we got some stuff going on in the chat.
Yeah, so Kimberly Tissot said, how about trying to relieve everyone else's stress and maybe not truly taking care of your own stress level?
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg, I agree. I get so much more done at home when I can isolate and focus. Terry, I am struggling with how to help my consumers navigate the state of the nation with everything costing more and income not increasing. I can go home and have dinner to put on the table when others cannot. Taisha, I struggle mental health, diagnosed with depression and anxiety after losing my mom, and my job was also depressing because I got bullied at my job and I wanted to harm myself, but I didn't because I know my mom wouldn't see me suffering like that. So do we want to tackle some of these?
Sure.
That's
Sure.
who's got Taisha. I also have got depression, anxiety, among a number of others. And it is a tough thing, and it can be very isolating, because again, you know, it's not easily outwardly seen. And so people don't always understand. But I think the fact that you acknowledge that, you know, when you recognize that, you know, you wanted to self-harm, and maybe you didn't, that's a huge thing. Anyone else?
Well, I wanted to go back to the one where the person wrote that it's hard in their heart to know that they're going to go home and have a good meal, and most of our clients, even my consumers, are in that same position. One thing that I don't know if any of you attended the cooking class that Arcel put on a few days ago here at April, but one of the things is working with your consumer on like $30 a week meals for one. That's for 7 days. You can find a lot of that information online for nutritional, inexpensive weekly meals. So I share that with my consumers, and they're pretty excited with the end result. They're like, at the beginning, but at the end result, they could afford to eat healthy food, good food, and still have some money to maybe go to a movie that month. You know, it changed, you know, just a $10 change in someone's budget a month is huge for our consumers. So that was one way we work with it, is helping them out with menus. We're just really busy there, Jamie. I don't know where you left off.
Agree. And you know, doing that, I did not get to see the live performance. I'm gonna come the live workshop, but I did watch the recording and that was great. And it's like, oh, that's, you know, those I can do that. um let's see, Sandra, I love putting a smile on people's heart as it makes my heart smile as well. I like that. Let's see. There is a free app that can be helpful to deal with overwhelming thoughts or feelings, especially dealing with feelings of self-harm. It's called Calm Harm. They also have another app called Clear Fear for addressing anxiety. Both are free and can be found on iOS and Android phones. I've been dealing with a I can't speak today. Sense of doom. I feel like it's with economy, war, climate change, and other world issues that everything is getting worse. It's hard to feel like anything is worth the effort. So yeah, let's kind of hit that for a second, because we do have things coming at us from all sides. Politics. Oh, Molly's holding up her finger.
I just want to let you folks know we're very loosely structured here. So if you want to talk and call out, we don't even tell you to raise your hand. We're just like, get with it and talk. So you're more than welcome to do that. So go ahead, Jamie.
No, we're good with that. Yes, but that's less we have to talk. But we do have a bunch of things coming at us from all sides, you know, money situation, housing, politics, you know, how are people handling that? What are some of the things that you guys are doing to stay kind of grounded?
You know, this is probably really bad advice. You know, because it's me. But, you know, I don't watch what I call secular TV because I don't want to watch the news. I do not want to watch the news. I do not want to know what's going outside my state. I watch local news only. When I put that into place in my home, it let me breathe because I wasn't constantly hearing about the political BS. I'm pretty open mouthed too. Uh, and the crap that just is on the news. And I noticed as soon as I did that, I stopped having all these, I don't know, I would call them, well, it's anxiety, but I would call them flash moments where, I would remember seeing something on the news that scared me or, put fear in me. And that's helped a lot. I try to stay away from seeing what's going on. Hopefully that is good news.
I giggle because so we're both from Idaho and I can't even watch the local news. So I've grounded myself from that too, because we are Idaho. What else have some people done?
Yeah, do some people just want to talk? That would help us keep up in the chat. I do want to say that the peer support that's going on in our chat is lovely. So we don't want to lose that, but we'd also like to hear from you.
How are people dealing with the stress of the world right now?
The stress for what?
I think for me, I try to make sure I set up stuff either a few weeks in advance, like for my kids, because I have a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old, or I set up like things with some of my friends. So that way, like I have something to look forward to. Like I know in 2 weeks that my friends are coming over and we're gonna watch football and cook chili and hang out. So to me, it's like trying to set something up a little bit in advance. It gives you something to kind of look forward to, but also you're like, ooh, I'll get to like stress or just not talk about work or talk about work, whatever you choose. So kind of setting stuff up a few weeks in advance so you have something kind of to look forward to continuously.
We'll be over for football and chili.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a perfect thing, is to have something to look forward to. I like to travel, and so I will look forward to some trip a year in advance. And COVID has made me a little bit more of an introvert than I was before. And so it is taking me a lot to actually get out and do things with friends again, because I became very comfy in my lounge pants in my house with my dogs. So
We have some good comments over here. Focus on the positive things in life. Stay away from the negative. Your world will be more positive. And then Snoop Dogg, I don't check the news when I first wake up or when I'm going to bed. That's awesome. And then yoga pants are absolutely the best. Yes, I'm in full agreement with that. I seem to wear a lot of pajama tops to work, but I dressed up for y'all today. So
then the one nice thing about Zoom is you only have to look dressed from about, the rest can be yoga pants.
So we still have a few more minutes, or well, the 1 minute they're going to give us the 5-minute
No,
buzzer.
we've got 25. We've got 35 minutes.
Oh, we do? We have an hour and a half? I thought we only had an hour.
We started at 11:30 or 10:30 your time.
Okay, sorry. So you're still here with us, folks. So let's keep it going. Things have been going good. So I got just a couple more things I could throw out to make things think. It doesn't mean you have to come up with an answer, but we sure would like you to do that. What would be your worst habit, and what is keeping you from beating it? I will tell you mine. I vape, and if I didn't vape, I'm pretty sure my family would either kick me out or you'd find me buried in the backyard because I just don't have a really good attitude when I don't vape. So that's my shortcoming. And I just can't beat it because I'm scared that something's going to happen negatively because I won't be very nice. So what else do you guys have? Jamie? Sorry.
There's like, I smoke, uh, weighing out all my bad things. So I smoke, and kind of the same thing. It's, um, I don't need it because that's the one thing in my life that I do right now that it is to calm me. I need to find that. I quit a few years ago, and then with some things that happened in my, divorce and change and everything else, it was, unfortunately, I picked it back up. And so I still plan to quit. I'm not sure at what point. And kind of like you, I'm scared of what the me is going to be. So meditation is pretty helpful for me. This is not me. I have not meditated yet. This is in the chat. I haven't managed to calm myself that much. Meditation is pretty helpful for me. The quiet time to sit with things without trying to fix them helps clear my head and helps me feel more at peace with life as it is. I like that. I drink Diet Coke, but I have switched to caffeine free, which has helped with anxiety a lot. So it's a baby step. Water would be better, but this is a good step. And that's really important. It's like something else maybe, totally help, but we do what we can do for ourselves. I think my fear is like when a stranger talks to me and I'm afraid I'm in a panic or someone is following, that is a scary thing. And going to the doctor and the dentist is scary for me. I have to get sedated for the doctor, and not just like nitrous, it's the shots. Another great resource if you need someone to talk to is 988, which is the suicide prevention hotline. And that is a good resource. And I get my toes done and I drive in the car listening to music. Lately, I've been making more time for quiet time, no noise. That's awesome.
Anyone else? Does anyone else want to bring up a subject that they're curious about? Maybe some of us don't know how to deal with certain things that other people have dealt with that would be helpful.
Okay, so I'm going to flip to the 988 really fast. So as a second job, I actually work at our crisis and suicide hotline, which is 988 if you call it. One of the things a lot of people don't realize is if you call 988 and you're talking, you don't have to be actively suicidal right then. Sometimes it's really nice to just kind of vent to somebody that you don't know, that doesn't know you, because it can be a little bit awkward at times to tell your family, I'm struggling, or friends. They also, if I have a first time caller and they will talk to me and say, what do you do? Are you going to call the police? That's everybody's fear, is if you say, yes, I'm feeling suicidal, or yes, I have a plan, that the police are going to be called. The thing is the police are the last people that we want to call if we can help it, because if we called every time someone said that they were suicidal or had a plan, nobody would call. So it's really walking you through kind of, okay, what are some things to keep you safe? What are some things to help with how you're feeling? Here's some resources. They're also a great tool for resources, for counseling, for crisis centers if they're in your area. So, all right, we've got some more comments. Let's see. Always having to fight ableism can get to your court. Let's see, I feel you there, Kimberly. It really is exhausting having to fight day in and day out. Still should be very much involved in your 988 hotlines. Not all call centers within the state are trained how to interact with people with disabilities. I am nodding my head. Yeah. And since COVID, I find myself panicking now over regular everyday tasks I used to do with ease, like going to the grocery store alone. Even thinking about it makes my heart race. I have to mitigate it through things like ordering online or going with my spouse.
Mm-hmm. That is my twin. I don't know you, but you're my twin. Grocery stores, you know, I before COVID, I didn't like to go to the store then either. I always went with a list so I could get in and get out. Boom. Never had anybody with me like my kid to slow me down. I just wanted to race through there. And then I found that wonderful thing of, you could order food online when COVID hit. That was one of my favorite things that came out of COVID is I can order my groceries. So I order the groceries, my husband picks it up, and I'm very happy. And it's over with, and I didn't even have to stress or freak out about going in the grocery store because that's not my kind of place. So I I didn't. I thought it was only me.
See, and
So
that's one of the nice things about this is it's not just one person. There's people all over that are dealing with this. And good job celebrating COVID for something. That's what
right.
um, it's increased accessibility of groceries for sure. And grocery stores can cause sensory overstimulation too. Lots of noise and bright colors. Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you,
So can
Cody.
Macy's. Throwing that
Whew.
out there. What else are you actually I'd like to know kind of a mix of who we have are are people with SILs, are people with
Oh yeah.
are people board members and council members in here. If you just want to write it in the chat, that would it kind of gives us an idea. Or if you want to say again, it's not just Molly and
And
I.
again, you still have time to change your names on the screens, so we don't know who you are. If you want to say what you want, uh, that helps.
I work for a Center for Independent Living in a semi-rural area, and I've been here for 17 years.
Wow. Well, I'm in a pretty rural area myself. Been here a little over 10 years, and yeah, it's kind of difficult at some points to keep that rural engagement. Sure is.
But you
So we
see a lot when you've been here a while, and a lot has
yeah,
changed and not
yeah.
changed. And
The landscape has really changed over the last 4 years, I would say. And it's positive change. So, but it's a learning curve, and I'm happy to support anybody I can with that curve. So, yeah. So we got Grace.
Hi everyone, I joined this chat because I'm a youth coordinator that works with youth with mental health disabilities, and then I myself was just diagnosed with severe PTSD due to some ableism I faced as a child as a wheelchair user and an autistic person. I have like childhood trauma induced PTSD, and I've just started like medication and I'm going to groups. So I just wanted to be like share my experiences if I could help somebody or if somebody could help me. I recently had psychosis for the first time. So that was something. If anybody in here has psychosis or is curious about psychosis. Oh, Sandra, you're with NAMI. Okay, yeah. Um, yeah, we work with NAMI a lot, and I use a lot of their online peer support stuff. I'll have to, if you have anything to recommend about like PTSD and PTSD related psychosis, that would be great. But yeah, I just wanted to say hi and sort of share my diagnosis and my experiences, just to be a peer support.
Thank you very much, Grace. Thank you. So, do we have anybody else before we move to the chat? So, we have quite a few people that are. Was that you, Jamie?
No, it's you.
Oh, okay. So, we have one person, Kimberly. She says, "I'm the president and CEO of Able South Carolina." Yay! A sale, woot woot. I agree. And the next one is I'm with the Nevada Youth Action Council. supported by Nevada Silk. Yay, Nevada. I used to live in Henderson for quite a few years. Sandra says, I'm with NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness, and I'm the resource person for our county. NAMI.org has a wealth of info. And then Grace, I am with Able South Carolina. Thank you, Grace. So does anybody else want to share what they do? You don't have to say where it's at, or you can, or how you fit in. Go ahead,
I have
Grace.
a question just for like the group real quick, because I'm starting back to work for the first time since my psychotic episode. And obviously, like I'm gonna bring my grounding tools and stuff and see my therapist. And I work part-time, and so that's a good accommodation. Because I'm not supposed to work full-time just for general health reasons. But I just wanted to see if anybody had any ideas about accommodating like PTSD and psychosis at work, because I just want to be successful when I go back to work.
I think that would be kind of related to what the PTSD was based on. I know my daughter has PTSD and anxiety. Hers were based on an act of criminal against her person. It was a criminal act against her twice. And it took a while. She had just moved out on her own to actually work through some things. And that was when she was 19. She's 24 now. And she is really good about being out in the community and doing everything that she can and socialize, but her problem is she lives on her own in an apartment, and she cannot stay in her apartment by herself. So
I have that exact problem, and so I connect with people online to not be by myself. My name is Grace Trumpauer. If your daughter wants to like message me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, because that's what I do, is use peer support if I feel unsafe. And there are so many people online that there's like always somebody available no matter what time it is, because eventually you make friends in like different time zones and stuff. So I have friends with PTSD from all over the world, and we just try to keep each other in balance. I have a Facebook group for survivors of trauma. It's for autistic survivors of trauma, but I'd be happy to make an exception. And I would love to add her to that, because that's just kind of what we do, is have peer support. If you just like tell me her first name, I'll be able to see it when she reaches out, or just like her initials or whatever for privacy reasons.
okay.
That's an awesome resource, Grace. If you want to throw the name of it in the chat. Molly,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
run it, and it's specifically for autistic people. But as long as you can agree to be like respectful to autistic people, I think it should be okay.
Okay, and would that be using your email, gtrumppower@able-sc.org?
But
That's fine. Okay. Her name is KD, and that's not her initials. That's her first name. It's just a K, and it's just a D. So it's pretty simple.
yeah,
And
I'll
her
just put a
email will
link
have
to my
that in there.
I'll
So,
put a link to my Facebook account for now. For the trauma survivors group, I have to discuss it with like the other administration. There's about like 3 of us. So I can't like just add people on my own, but I'll send my personal account for now.
Okay.
Awesome.
you.
Thank you. What
Yeah.
else?
I'm going to let you do some of the chat this time, Jamie.
There is Grace. Check out NAMI.org website. NAMI is a phenomenal organization with tons of information. I use them quite a bit. So thanks, Sandra. Jolene, I work with DAC, and I'm new to independent living, working in both Lewiston and Moscow with Molly. And I'm focusing on mental health, reentry, and youth outreach. I'm also the vice president of the Adult Resource Center, also working with Molly. Molly does everything. So hi, everyone. And then Grace did put her Facebook in the chat.
And my work email.
And your work email, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the other things that people are, looking for some support with and dealing with? All right, then let's see. I'm going to Molly. Molly's sent me deep thought-provoking questions, so in case it was quiet. So is honesty always the best policy? Molly, I want to hear
Oh,
from you.
sorry. I am having some technical things here. I'm trying to get Grace's site up and get it saved. Sorry about that. What was the question again? Don't you just love
This is
me?
why we can't be on the site together. Is honesty always the best policy?
You know, do you want the truth? Do you want me to tell you what everybody has told you your whole lives?
No, tell us the truth.
I
Okay,
really, you know,
Grace, go ahead.
it's worked for me as an autistic person. Autistic people are very open and honest naturally, and that can be uncomfortable to like neurotypical people. And same thing with people with mental illness. They usually appreciate the openness. They'll just say something like, my mental health can't handle this conversation right now, and then I just go talk to somebody else. But for neurotypical people, no. For neurodivergent people, which is people with mental illness, autism, psych disabilities, cognitive disabilities, anything like that, absolutely, it's key to our culture as a disability community, as a subset of the disability community. Neurodivergent culture is, you can literally say whatever you want, and then if you're being toxic, people will be like, hey, that's kind of toxic. Like, you can't be racist just because you're autistic. And then they'll be like, okay, yeah. And then that just kind of solves that problem. So you can be like, hey, like, don't say that, that was bad. But they're not gonna get in trouble for the act of saying something. You're just gonna get called out if you need to be called out.
Right. So for me, I'm very honest with what comes out of my mouth. It might not come out of my mouth at the right time because, I don't think sometimes before things come out, but I've always followed the policy to be honest, unless it's going to damage someone mentally or really hurt their heart. Then I don't lie to them per se, but I do avoid that thing that's going on because I don't want to hurt somebody. But I do speak my mind all the time. It gets me in trouble most of the time, and I apologize to anybody that's happened to. But yes, I'm very outspoken, and I'm not sure why, but that's one thing I am. So, anyone else?
You would feel
Jolene,
the autism community.
Jolene, I was wondering if you can share if you have any tips or things that you've seen, since you said in the chat that you focus on mental health and reentry and youth outreach.
Hi, yeah. So what was your question? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to know if there were any tips or things that you've noticed that you might want to share when it comes to helping support someone with their mental health.
Right. Well, listening obviously is a big one. I think spending adequate time with somebody to get to know their situation and them as a person is important because everybody wants to be seen and heard, right? So that's everybody from somebody that's homeless all the way to somebody who maybe doesn't want anybody to know that they have mental health issues, who thinks, it's something to be ashamed of, and helping to facilitate the acceptance of that in themselves. And so I do spend a lot of time one-on-one talking with the people that I work with. With the reentry stuff, we have been fortunate enough in our area to have a new position created specifically for reentry, focusing on reentry from facilities. who I met with last week, who's fantastic. I think she's going to be a great asset to our not county, but our division or whatever it's called, section 2, division 2, whatever. District 2. There we go. And she's, she's very gung-ho and has a lot of drive, and I think that's going to help facilitate some really good relationships in our community as far as transitioning people back with the right resources, making sure they have food, a place to stay, people or a way to get to their doctor's appointments, things like that. So networking is a huge thing, at least in my area, because it's so small. Bringing the community back together, I think, is important. So I think that's what I have to share so far.
Thank
So
you,
I
Jill.
have go ahead,
Yeah.
Molly.
Oh, I was just going to thank Jolene and then say what Kate said in the comments. Kate did say that honesty is important, but so are things like empathy, compassion, and sensitivity in delivery. And that's exactly right to my psyche. That's how I like to do things. Oop, one more popped up. There's definitely a way to be honest and kind, considerate at the same time. Yes, there is. And that's all that's in the chat. So if you want to move forward, Jamie.
Yeah, I had a question sent to me that says, I struggle with boundaries and saying no occasionally. Does anybody in the group have any ideas? How do you guys put those boundaries in where it's okay to say no, and take care of yourself?
I have struggled with financial boundaries because I have children. Now I have adult children. And I'm telling you, when they're kids and they're asking for stuff all the time, it does not change when they turn 18 and move out of the house. There still seems to be some obligation as a parent to still take care of certain things. So as the economy has changed, I've had to change and say no, and it's been very, very difficult and actually heartbreaking for me. But I think by learning it through this way, because it's made me do it and learn how to do it nicely and make them understand. So I think I'm on the road to being able to do this in other parts of my life too, because I'm definitely a yes person most of the time.
Anyone else? How do you, let's see, there is a comment, great resource on boundaries and saying no. And the link is in the chat. And then I struggle with this often as well. So I try and focus on helping to strengthen a person's self-esteem and self-worth, with the hope that instead of having to place boundaries, they start to move forward and do things on their own, ultimately helping to teach them IL skills, and then encourage them to reach out to various programs and therapies. Be there for them. Do not take their abilities to take care of themselves, though. Encourage them to self-advocate. And one thing I do is I just turn off my, I will tell people, I am, I work these hours. I actually, a few Fridays ago, I told my entire family, my children, my mother, everybody, because I tend to, my kids are older, they're all grown. The youngest is 25. And so they're all grown. I'm between my kids and my mom. It's, that whole sandwich generation thing. And they always seem to need, and so this isn't necessarily even work, it's just personal, which makes it even harder sometimes to say no, because it's like, oh, I got to do this for mom. Oh, whatever. I did tell them finally, and I'm probably, if you know me, it's okay, but I wouldn't say this to a stranger. I told them I was taking a Friday off. I was not going to be available. Do not ask me to help you. Do not need anything. I did tell them I would hunt them down if they needed me, and I did, because I just needed a day that I wasn't helping someone else. And I told them, I spent the day in my lounge pants, binge watching supermarket stakeout and cleaning my house. I bought new cleaner because apparently I clean when I need time off. This coconut scented cleaner. But that, I finally did tell them, don't need me. I am not here for you today. For one day, I am not here for you. So
That's such good self-advocacy. I was diagnosed with, like, I don't like to use this word, but I was diagnosed with what they used to call in 2006 very severe nonverbal autism. And so I'm very hypersensitive to like sensory things. And I can tell when I'm getting really unwell because everything that used to smell good starts to smell bad and everything starts to turn up. And I'm able to, like, I usually have a pretty sensitive sense of smell, but if I'm really, really sick, I can literally smell particles in the air. So I totally relate to like the coconut spray. Because I have a bunch of different ones because my sensory system sets around, but it switches around. But like lavender and that aromatherapy kind of stuff can be very useful, even if you don't notice it being useful. It's like your brain subconsciously, because what I think autism really is just like a deeper connection to your subconscious. And so like all of that aromatherapy and stuff, that works because it works on your subconscious. So I have coconut spray too. That's one of the smells that I like. I do lavender a lot, peppermint, orange, just everything that people say about aromatherapy and essential oils. It's kind of a pyramid scheme right now, but that's all true. They're just using it as a pyramid scheme, but that doesn't mean it's not true.
yeah, and I also like clean houses. So that's the double. And that's one thing is most of us in this group, we work at Sills, we work at Silks, we're in helping professions. But then we've also got our personal lives. And so sometimes we spend our lives helping everybody. And it just does feel, it can be overwhelming and I always use the term meltdowny because that's about, I just feel like I'm melting. So, and it's hard when you're giving at work and you're giving during the day and then you go home and you give then, it's just overwhelming. Molly.
My husband keeps telling me you're not at work because I would treat him like an information referral. He'd ask me a question and I would actually give him an answer like it was an information referral. So we try not to do that anymore at home. But I want to start with Jolene in the chat. Jolene says, I struggle with this often as well, so I try and focus on helping to strengthen a person. Oops, it's jilted up. Strengthen a person's self-esteem and self-worth with the hope that instead of having to place boundaries, they start to move forward and do things on their own, ultimately helping to teach them life skills. That's nice. And then we have Sandra. Encourage them to, we jumped again. Encourage them to reach out to various programs and therapies. Be there for them. Do not take their abilities to take care of themselves, though. Encourage them to self-advocate. You have to have self-care or you will be unable to help others. That is so true. And then we have someone saying, good point on self-care, Sandra. I agree. That was Cody. And Sandra's back with, no one takes care of you as good as yourself, as you know yourself the best. Agree. And then Grace said, agree wholeheartedly. And then we have Caitlin. It says, once on a weekend on my server I'm in, I saw someone addressing concerns with reasonable accommodations, and I went full INR talk, so I get it. All right. Thank you. So,
Amy and Molly,
yeah,
I just want to let you guys know that you have 5 minutes left. And I know we had a great comment in the chat a while ago. about taking care, how people take care of everyone else's needs and they don't practice self-care themselves. I'm wondering if we can maybe talk about some ways to focus on ourselves with the few minutes we have left, just because we all are helpers. And if you have nothing left to give, how are you supposed to take care of yourself?
That's what happened to me recently, and I had a very severe burnout. I was out of work for 3 months, and you kind of just have to force yourself to do it. So I'm implementing meditation 3 times a day, aromatherapy along with the meditation, making sure I get nutrition. So I bought some nutrition formulas because sometimes I forget to eat. So I can do that in like 10 minutes. And a lot of us were just busy. So as long as you have it set up to where it's as easy as possible, because it's so hard to turn off that desire to help, because that's a natural desire, even though it's related to work. You can never get rid of like your base drives. You can stop talking about work, but you can never get rid of that base drive. So you just have to kind of design your setup to accommodate yourself. And so I do like 3 10-minute breaks a day at meal times. So that, and I set a timer so I don't forget. And you just have to make yourself do that. And I feel so much better. My blood pressure, I've had high blood pressure since I was like 5, and my blood pressure is the lowest it's ever been. So I'm doing pretty good on coming back from burnout.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks for sharing that, Grace. Jamie has said in the chat, what is everyone's go-to self-care activity? I would love to hear from some people who have been pretty silent on the call, and you can put that in the chat. And that would be really fantastic to hear ideas from everybody.
Well, Grace says movie day. That is her self-care activity. Somebody else like to chime in? All you have to do is unmute yourself or type it in the chat. Ooh, I love reading. It relaxes me. Hot tub, yes. Definitely nice. Playing music loudly and dancing it out. Good. That's a good one. For me, I'm big in my faith, so prayer and scripture, but I also love walking outside. I don't mean to get religious here, so I apologize to anyone who is not. That's okay, Caitlin. And walking is really good. So journaling my thoughts, that is something I used to do a long time ago. I was going through some counseling, and I was journaling quite a bit to bring out some stuff that, I could get out of me. And I think I'm going to have to pick up journaling again here shortly, because it really, really did help me out to journal it, set it away, read it the next day, tear it out of the book, tear it up and throw it away. It was like shaking your hands on something. It was very therapeutic. Take walks, listen to music, get together with good friends, massage, going out to lunch with a friend, bubble bath, watch a good movie. All those are wonderful and some of my favorites.
Well, I know we've only got 1 minute left. I want to thank everybody for coming here. I know, some of you chose to be a little bit more quiet, which is perfectly okay, because that's a lot of times, to be there and absorb and to help realize that other people are facing some of the things that we are. I believe there's a Discord. Okay, so I'm super old apparently. Isn't there a Discord that if you
There
want
is.
to?
Yes, there is a Discord. I'm not sure how to get you guys to the Discord, but related to our page, there's a Discord. If anybody would like to continue the conversation on that Discord, you're more than welcome to head over there and enjoy it yourself, because this is set up to be a peer-to-peer group. Jamie and I don't even know how to turn Discord on, and we apologize, but we are that old. So, and I've tried. Trust me, I've tried. So a few more things here.
Right.
Thank you. There are so many educational good classes. God, I chose this. And thank you so much. So it looks like it's time to wrap it up. And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. And hopefully we will see you again next year.
And
Oh,
thank you.
is in the chat. Sorry. So April put the Discord link in the chat for folks. So go ahead, Beth. I'm so sorry.
And I'd just like to thank you for joining this session. We've enjoyed the conversation. Thanks everyone for your chats, for the verbal. We appreciate it. And then as we do the Discord link, continue. Please don't forget to take just a few minutes to do our evaluations. The evaluations are so important to us because this lets us know how we can improve our next session for next year. So with that, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Sleepy. We want to thank our ASL interpreter, Crystal. We appreciate you so very much. And I do not see the transcriber, but we appreciate the cart. So thank everyone. Have a good evening. And again, do not forget your evaluations. They're so important to us.
Our captioner is named Sally. Just wanted to let you all know that. So thanks, Sally. Our closing ceremony starts in about 30 minutes. So make sure that you come to that. And all of the resources that have been shared in the chat are up on the conference session page. So where you went to click the link to participate and join this session, you can find the resources that we shared. Again, thank you. And we will see you in about 30 minutes.
Take care.